Good morning, guys. So today I'm going to make a pot pie, a chicken pot pie. And I'm going to turn that light on. Hope that's a little bit better. But I'm going to make a savory pie crust. And I thought I'd bring you along for that process. I have a cup of shredded butter, cold butter on the bottom there. 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to use... Today, I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of sage in there, because sage goes with what I'm doing. It's actually turkey from making my bone broth, and I don't, really trying to limit what I can right now. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of oregano. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of summer savory. If you can't get summer savory, it is so good. It's really good in stuffing and lentils and things like that. It's a really good spice. If you can find it, try it. It's really good. So now I'm just going to mix this up. And if I think I need a little more oregano, I'll put it in there, or summer savory. But I definitely don't want to add any more sage to this. I've made the same recipe with just some thyme and rosemary for roast chicken. I had roasted off a chicken and so on. So good. Because you want, for me, for a pot pie, yeah, you can go traditional and do one of those normal ones like I would do for like a pie. Ugh. Sorry, guys. But when I'm doing a meat pie, I like to kind of put those same kind of herbs in it that I would, that I'm going to put into the filling, which I'm going to bring you guys along for. Okay. So yeah, I'm just mixing this together. It's my standard pie crust recipe. I'm just adding herbs, but I thought you guys might like to see it. I am going to put a little more summer savory in there. And we love black pepper. This is to each their own, right? But I'm going to shake some of this out. This is summer savory. It's got rosemary and thyme and everything in there. It is just a delicious mixture. And a little more black pepper. Like I said, we're black pepper people. All right, so that's it. We got the butter combined. I have a mouse in my kitchen right now, and I have 2 cats firmly planted underneath my fridge. Better them than me. All right, and 1/2 cup of extremely cold water. When you grate your butter, you don't necessarily have to cut it in. So if you don't happen to have one of these little tools, just grate it on your box grater. And you don't have to use one of those for that. I'm out of lard, so I got to render some more down. And then I'm just going to pull this together. I may need a little more water today. And if you wanted to add some turmeric to this, oh, there it goes. You hear me scream, you know it came out, because I hate them. I may live on a farm, but I do not like rodents. I am not that's why I have cats. And my cats are fantastic mousers. I have all of them firmly planted. That mouse does not have a chance. All right, maybe just a little bit more water. I thought I better advise you in case I scream. Oops, sorry guys. So, you just kind of want to pull it together. I have a really bad habit of kneading things. I guess it's just from all the dough I make. I'm just going to bring this together. Now I'm going to wrap this in plastic wrap. Put it in my fridge if I can get into it. No, I have to get into it. They will move. And I'll try to take a picture of them so you can see them. It's just the funniest thing ever. And let this sit until after I'm done my pot pie filling. Alright guys, I'll be back. Okay guys, so here we're gonna start the filling, okay? So I have about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of butter at the bottom of this pot. And we're gonna add in our root vegetables at this point. I am gonna add some corn and stuff, but I'll show you how I do that in a bit. So there's the carrots. These are just vegetables I kind of had going. I have 2 small onions, a couple potatoes. Now I got asked a really amazing question about soups. Is there anything else you can do with a soup? Well, I do the exact same thing as I'm doing now with a jar. I should have grabbed it. Of chicken soup. Okay, so I have my chicken soup stock here. What I would do is I would put potatoes, and if I didn't have any carrots in here or whatever, I would just add all this stuff, including the butter, okay, and then the potatoes, celery if I wanted a little bit more celery. If I wanted some more carrot, I'd throw that in there, and I start the stock out that way. This way, if you don't have any leftovers, use your canned soup for this. I think, you know, you got to start coming up with different ways to use the canning other than what you've canned it for. But yeah, I do this same process with just 2 jars of this soup, and I got my chicken pot pie or turkey pot pie or whatever I may be doing, okay? But today I have leftovers in my fridge that I need to use up, but I wanted to address that question because that is a fantastic question. Now also, these vegetables are going to cook in that pot pie as well, but I want to leach out some of those vegetables, the water out of the vegetables, because we're going to start making a roux, okay? Now I have some of my dehydrated garlic here. I'm going to throw that in. And I'm just going to leave it just like that. Okay. So at this point we have onions, carrots, potatoes, and celery, a little bit of garlic. It's that time to start to build that immune system, you know. I got that pot pie pastry in the fridge. Now, to make this leach a little bit faster, I'm going to add some salt to this. Now, when I can my stocks, I don't put salt in it. So, and those potatoes will soak up that salt. Some freshly ground black pepper. This could also be used as just a simple stew. You know, if you wanted to do this in your crock pot and then add the other parts to it. We're going to just make a simple roux here. Have you guys figured out what the new news is? It's gonna be good. So you know when not to do your roux yet. When you can look on the bottom, you can see a bit of your butter. It's not ready. The pot isn't ready yet to create a roux. Because your roux you want to brown that roux, but you don't want to burn the roux. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to open up some jars here. So I have a liter of chicken broth. Oh, that sucker was on there. Okay. And I have 500 milliliters of our celery stock that we made. I'll leave a link below to that. Now I'm gonna make a little bit extra because I want to this is gonna almost be like a double batch, okay? I want to pop one of these in the fridge for my mother-in-law, okay? Alright guys, when this gets to the point where I can add the flour to it, I'll bring you right back. Alright guys, so we're there, okay? Everything is softened, so I'm going to add 1/4 cup flour to this. And it's really important to cook out that flour, okay? And when that starts to smell a little bit nutty, that's when you know it's time to add that stock or whatever you're doing in a cream sauce. Hang on, guys. Oh, excuse me. So, you can see it's grabbed onto all the vegetables there, okay? That's that good stuff in the bottom. I love these pots. These pots were a fantastic deal. Our old grocery store had these cast iron pots on at Christmas time, not last year, the year before. Yeah, for $10. And I bought so many of them. And I bought them for people for Christmas. Fantastic pot. I have to back you guys up a little bit. So I also added in the summer savory, which was about 1/2 teaspoon, a little bit of poultry seasoning, maybe 1/4 teaspoon maybe. We have all that in that pastry, so I just want to mimic it a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to add in our celery stalk and our chicken, or sorry, well I think this was turkey bone broth. Now we're going to scrape that bottom, get up all those good bits. And then I'm going to show you guys a couple little tricks. You can still feel a couple on the bottom, little bit. There we go. Off the bottom. Now I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Now, the key to a really good pot pie is you let this completely cool. 100% cool. And then you roll out your pastry. And now you're saying, where's the turkey, right? I will show you when we roll out the pastry what I do. Now, I'm doing it the way I do it. You do it the way you want to do it. If you want to add the turkey in, you add it in, okay? Now we're just going to stir that around. I want a little more black pepper. I forgot something. Forgot my chili peppers. I'll be right back. I set them out and forgot to carry them over. Okay. My husband likes this just with a little bit of a kick, So we're just going to add some chili peppers to that. So what you want to do at this point is bring this up to a gentle boil, okay? With the induction burner, it doesn't take long. So like I was saying, so you want to, once you have this already done, okay, you want it to sit out at room temperature and completely cool. That is so important, because if you put this hot liquid into that pastry, you're cooking that pastry and you're going to make it soggy on the bottom. If you use a cold or room temperature broth, stew, whatever you want to call it, into that pastry is cold, and it needs to remain cold until the heat of that oven hits it and puffs it up. And that's how you get your flaky dough, or your flaky pastry. So that's why we're doing this so early in the morning. It's like 9:20, because this is going to sit here till about 2 o'clock, because we eat really early in this house. We eat about 3 o'clock every day, just because with chores and everything, it's our time to eat, and that's when we do it. Okay. So it's starting to come up to a boil. I will taste this and see if it needs salt or not. And tasting your food is super important as well. Definitely needs some salt. But I'm going to do one better. I'm going to use a little bit of dried Maggi seasoning instead of salt. Now this was a traditional meal in our house when I was a kid, but as I grew on my own, it was just a little, I wanted to kick it up a little bit. So this is my variation of it. But like I said, you do you. And I'm telling you, this is so good. And we're just going to have this with a light salad. Because you have lots of vegetables. I'm going to be adding more, but I want this mixture to be cold before I add in the peas and the carrots. Or the peas and the corn. Because they're frozen. Yeah. Alright, so now we need to go to the next step. Okay, so this is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but this is how we did it in school. And you'll never have your cream curdle, ever. So you take out a couple ladles of your broth. Okay. And I have some 18% cream here. I had bought it for Christmas and didn't use it. So I'm going to use a little bit of that. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm tempering, here, I'll bring it over here. We're tempering the cream, okay? So when we add that cream in, it's not going to curdle, okay? So I'm going to slowly add a little bit more here on the side. There we go. And we're tempering that cream, okay? I feel the bottom of the measuring cup, it's warm. Look at that beautiful broth coming. Oh, so good. And then to the side. Oops. Temper it a little bit more. It's good to do this with milk as well, Okay, so that's starting to thicken beautifully. So I'm gently gonna add this cream and broth mixture to this. And no curdling. If you've ever made like a mac and cheese and you get all this lumpy stuff, that is curdling. And your milk was cold and you add it to, you know, it just, you have to temper sometimes, and those little bits you're seeing is garlic. And we slowly add it in. And there's the vegetables that went in there with it. And now I'm just going to gently bring that back up to a slight boil. Because you don't want to boil this, okay? And there it is. And with a chicken pot pie or beef pot pie, whatever you're doing, you need a fairly stiff stock, stew, whatever you want to call it, because you need it to hold together, and that's another big key. Now, if you wanted to add tomatoes to this or chili sauce to this, go for it. I've done all those things, and it's really good. But I just kind of wanted to go very traditional today. It's about to start to freezing rain here, so I kind of wanted something real soul heating up. Now I do have, this is the other trick I wanted to show you. So the other night I made gravy and I needed cornstarch slurry, but I didn't need all of it. If you set this on the counter, it will actually separate, and this is what it did. It separates. Take out that drain off that water and let it sit on your counter, and that's what you get. So now you can reuse this and there's no wasting. So if I need to, there's just not enough roux in that, I will I'll add it. I'll add some water to it and use it up. But this makes an absolutely beautiful stew. With some biscuits, fantastic. Alright guys, I'm going to bring this up to a boil, let it kind of simmer here for a little bit. I'm going to let it cool down, and then when I roll out my dough and add this to the pastry, I will bring you back. Alright guys, so here is the herbed pot pie crust, okay? So that's the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the turkey into the bottom. Okay. Just like so. Easy. Just going to move this out of the way for a second. Okay, so here's our pot of, I guess at this point it's stew, right? So now I'm going to add all these vegetables into the mix. Okay. As you can see, this makes a lot. If you're doing it for like 2 people, I would start with like a 500 milliliter of stock, maybe a 250 of the celery stalk if you've done that. If you haven't done the celery stalk, there's no stress there. Don't even worry about it. But like I said, I doubled what I normally make because I want to send some to my mother-in-law. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to fill it. Okay. So we're going to take this. My husband is going to be so displeased, guys. But beans are so good for you. They have so many vitamins in them. I'm just trying to get them to eat a little bit healthier. I need to start eating a little bit healthier. This meal is definitely not a good start. But I know where the turkey came from. I know where the potatoes came from. I know, except for these frozen vegetables. That's the only thing I don't know where they came from. So, okay. There we go. So, now what'll happen is all this will go into the turkey, okay, at the bottom, and it won't get like a stringy. And I'm just going to move that out of the way because I got to put my top on. And then I'm just going to egg wash it and then pop it into a 350 oven for about an hour. Depending on your oven, you might have to go 2 hours. It's to whatever you want your pot pie pastry to look like. If you like it darker or lighter, it'll all depend on that. Because everything is pretty much cooked on the inside. You're just basically heating it up and activating all that thickener in there. And that's it. Alright guys, I will bring you back as I'm pulling it out of the oven. Alright guys, so here's the meat pie. Okay, and I'm just going to cut it. Sure you guys can see. Not a very good pie cutter. Alright. Alright, smells good. Oh. First piece is always the hardest. So, I guess next time I'll thicken it a little bit more. You don't want it too thick when you're putting all that turkey in the bottom. But it'll be alright. We'll eat it. Get my husband 2 pieces here. And I just got a nice side salad to go with it. And as it cools, it'll come together as well. Alright. It's not very pretty. There you go. It smells really good. Alright guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys try this. And please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys super soon. Bye.